Okay, this is the White House document. It's directly pointing at this link. As you can see, I can copy this link. I'm going to reload it, and you can see that this thing loads. If I reload that document, what I want you to notice is that it draws in pieces, or it did just a minute ago. Okay, so let's resize it, and you'll see it re-render. There, you see? So what this is intended to do is to show that this document loads in pieces, as you can see, and that it's loading directly from the White House website. So you can see the URL there, and this document I will be deconstructing for you in Adobe Illustrator and maybe a little bit of Photoshop in a few minutes. One of the things I'm going to do actually is I'm going to just download this document again on another browser. Okay, and let's see. Okay, so there it is, saving to disk. So that's Obama's birth certificate, if you want to believe it. You know, my previous incarnation was as a graphics specialist working with images and special effect images. And you know, I spent a lot of time working with Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. In fact, when you look at most of my charts, you see that they look different, and that's because they come from Adobe Illustrator essentially. But you know, now that the guy came out and released this birth certificate, let's take a look at what he did. He released a birth certificate, or something that he alleges is a birth certificate. And what I'm going to do is show you a little bit of what this thing is made of. So first, I'm going to show you the pieces of this. Okay, we have an overall scan, which includes this is one piece of this document. This is the exact document that they released. We have an overlay, which is multiplied on top of that. Okay, and you can see what this text is. I'm going to go and show you the details. So these are linked files. We have another overlay over here. This is a signature. Here we have a date, and you wonder, well, why would April 25th, 2011 be a separate date? And why would this be a separate date also? With some missing numbers, which ironically don't match up with the density of the surrounding numbers. And then similarly here, this thing only has one density across here, and when you look, you can see actually in the bottom of my screen. I'm going to move this here. You can see that we have a piece of we have a date. Let's go get it. Sorry. Here. Okay, so now, if you believe that this document is real, well, then you might want to ask why I can move that date. Okay, here's the date again. Why can I move that date? So, Mr. Obama, and let's just take a look at this one. Okay, so here's another piece. Now, let's remove that, and let's go move this. Now, what I'm going to do is you can see that all these layers are moving around, and this is a disaster. It's just an insult. It's a disaster, obviously, that somebody would release this. Now, I don't have any explanation for it, because you can't make this up. I'm not making this document up. This is the one that you download from the White House. Now, let's take a look at this green background. Now, with Adobe Illustrator, you have a lot of choices here, and I'm just going to go and turn the opacity all the way down, so you don't basically see this. So now what you see is the pieces that they assembled. So now I'm going to go do the same thing here, and so I'm deconstructing this document for you as they played with it. And so here are a few key dates. This is some stuff that's not supposed to show up. It's all the way down in the bleed here. Apparently they must have forgotten to consider that this document should not have been released in this form. It should have been released in a flattened form, which they didn't do. Okay, so very strange stuff is going on here, and I'm going to point out just a few other things. So if we go and we were to look at this particular graphic, and I just remove it here, you can see that it's not there, and you can see that the numbers over here are dark. You can see the number when we put this in, they're not. Now the thing is that this would have been very easy for these guys to deal with, but they're just rank amateurs. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm going to just multiply this on top of each other. So now all of a sudden I have reasonable density images. This is all I did was paste this image on top of the other image and then multiply it together. In fact, that's one of the things that I'm going to delete it now. And then one of the things that they could have done, instead of fooling around with the background as they did, as you can see, they removed the background. What they needed to do was to just go in here and choose multiply, and then you can see when I drag this down, if I actually will not do that, I'll copy it and paste it so it's on the top layer. Okay, so here is, let's see, where are we? Copy. Let's go to my layers. Where are layers? Over here. Layer to layer. Okay, so basically I'm just create another layer. Okay, so now we have this thing on another layer. So you can see exactly what it was that they did. Now, just look how easy this would be compared, this is basically the method they used to do this. And all they needed to do was to choose multiply, which looks immediately better than their solution. And let me just go put this thing back the way it was. See, that's what they did. Okay, so they could have just done multiply, and they could have easily just made the density of this thing darker. And that, for the sake of argument here, I'm going to just do that by pasting it on top of itself again, and there I've got like a reasonably dense image. But you look, there's halos around everything. This is classic manipulation, and they should have, and I'm going to show you really quickly how this could be easily done. You can do this in Photoshop yourself. We're going to go grab a piece of this background just to have it. Okay, so let's see. I'm just going to go make a quick take a look at this background. I'm taking this off here so you can see we're just working with the background. There it is, gone. So here is, this thing. Now I'm going to show you how they could have done this without any of the haloing and all that stuff in 4 seconds. Okay, but they're idiots apparently. So I'm copying this thing, and we're going to just use the square of the background, and I'm going to actually take this layer out and put it onto its own layer. Now I've got my new layer, so what you can see, what you should be able to see is that with one click here, I can just hide and unhide this layer. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just duplicate the layer, and I'm going to make just the isolated section of it. So instead of having the whole thing, I'm going to just isolate that, and then I'm going to just blow it up, just so you can see that I won't get the haloing that they have. So I'm creating a mask over here. Apparently, now we know what these little squares are. They're little antiquing things. Let's see. Actually, I want to see that. It looks like, you see that? That's antiquing. Yeah, okay. So they're trying to basically make the paper look old. So let's go over here and see again if I can. So I'm just going to go make this mask. Okay, and now instead of scaling it, I'm just going to clone it. There. You see, so now it's layering okay. So what you can see now is that so now you can see my background, which is simply taking the background of this thing and that was supplied, and layering it versus theirs. Okay, so here's theirs. Now they added a nice little tone over here, and this is just a standard gradient, and they blurred the background, as you can see. So if we go between mine, you can see that the background is not blurred if you were to copy it. And they have this K over here sitting somewhere, and they put artifacts in the document. There's no question. I don't know what to think. I don't know why they did this, but it's insane that they would release something like this to the world in a format that you can easily discover. So I am saving this document so we have it. Birth certificate PC. So okay, there we go. I'm saving it as a PDF, compatible with Adobe Illustrator editing.